The 13th of December, and we're getting to that part of the year where the markets just kind of quiet down. Today, though, is going to be wild. Probably. I mean, wild in a relative sense. I mean, it might not be as wild as it could be, but we have FOMC coming out. PPI just came out. We're going to take a look at what that looks like on the chart. In the meantime, if you are just joining us or if you're watching this after the fact, like, subscribe, thumbs up, notification bell. If you want to learn how to be a trader, if you want to learn how to build a trading method, if you want to eventually possibly take that method and automate it so it can trade for you as you walk away, then go ahead, visit the QR code that I'm about to put on the screen. Okay, I'm going to put another version of it on the top left so you can always just zap it up there. But go ahead, visit this, or just go to www.algofactory.tech. That price, $49.99, is a deal. It's not going to last. But if you get in at that price, you can keep that price after prices go up for that tier of service, okay? So I don't want to spend too much time talking about it. We'll get into what we do and who we are a little bit later in this video. For now, I want to go straight into the charts. So let's just do that. I'm going to zoom in here. Yesterday we played a bracket, so right as the data came out, which is very similar to today's data, we took like a mini trade. I just put a small amount of money just to see if we could take advantage of the economic data that came out, which was CPI. That's the Consumer Price Index, okay? And that data came out, and I mean, there was an opportunity to make some money on that, but mostly it was kind of a nothing burger. The data that came out was not a lot of information, right? We didn't get a huge spike in anything. The numbers came out as expected. And so the market reaction was more just about getting money off the sidelines back into the market. And it allowed market makers to basically pick my pocket live for everybody to see. And that's cool. I didn't put much money on it. That's just part of the game if you want to try to trade the news. So it looks like, okay, so today was PPI data. We're going to take a look at the number. I can see that there's a spike up and it's already been stuffed down. Yeah, definitely. We'll go to the 5-minute chart here really quick. And we do have some questions in the private group. We will get to you. Let me see here. Let me scroll down. Okay, so Trev has a question. Okay. The gorilla's here. What's up, V? V the gorilla. Speak or forever hold your peace.
Yes. Good morning, all you savages. Welcome. It's Algo Factory Tech. I am the gorilla. He is the cowboy. You're in the right place. And look, you want to learn how to make money in this coming election cycle, this coming new year where things are gone topsy-turvy. You're worried about your future. Well, don't be. Grab your life, get some balls, grow a spine, join Algo Factory Tech. Let us show you how great you are. Let us show you how you can profit in the chaos. Scan that QR code. Join us for $1 for less than the price of a cup of coffee. $1.66 per day. If you could spare $1.66 per day, you could join us and make it happen for yourself and learn one of the most valuable life skills you can ever learn with real hands-on training right here on Algo Factory. Go ahead, cowboy.
Oh, yeah, no worries. So we're looking at the data that just came out. So PPI came out as expected. Actually, the core PPI was a little lower than expected. So inflation was technically, let's just say, down. This is producer price inflation. Let me hide that QR code. You can zap QR code top left of the screen if you want to, do that. But so PPI is producer price inflation. Yesterday was CPI. Okay, that's consumer price inflation, and there's like basically as expected across the board, just a slight tick up on the monthly, almost nothing. So yesterday, right at the same time, price just kind of wagged back and forth, picked people's pockets, and then went into the direction it probably would have gone anyway. I'm expecting something similar here today. We got just a little bit less than normal on a core PPI, and I think that excludes gas. Yeah, excludes food and energy. Not that producers have to worry so much about food. Energy, they worry a lot about. So a tick down in inflation in today's environment is going to affect the markets by making the dollar get weaker, which is going to push everything against the dollar upward, which is why we saw that spike up in the euro. But there really was no way to see that coming. Not really. There are people who claim that they know what's up, but in reality, I mean, I think they're just rolling the dice, or I don't know. Maybe they got a formula, maybe they don't. But
They throw the chicken bones, man.
the chicken bones, remember the chicken bones, dude?
They throw the bones that tell the story, boy.
Yeah, it's in the cards. But you're looking at a 10 pip move. I mean, it's kind of decent, but it's really not a whole lot. And price already pretty much went back to where it was before. So there's people who play this, and it's look, yesterday's live show. If you watch that, if you just go to algofactory.tech's YouTube channel, you can watch it go live. You can see the wildness with which price, kind of wanders all over the screen and just takes out both my trades. It's actually it's brutal. But so like I said, it was just a test trade. Just put a little tiny bit of money on there, and so what, right? The whole idea was to demonstrate how this works. And anybody who, went long would be underwater now, right? I mean, unless look, this was like a 1 minute move. Like, you had to be super on top of it in order to take profit. You had to be like, and those who were super on top of it took profit, and you can see it in the price action. The move here was actually a 2 minute, really a 1 minute move to the max. And it might have been a 30-second move. I can knock this down to 10 seconds. Look at that. This was a 10-second move. I mean, you did have about 30 seconds to try to scrape money off the top. Are you really somebody who can move in 30 seconds in trading? Like, do you have that? Or did you magically know where price might go? I mean, you could have set a take profit at some local structure, but what local structure? There's many areas you could have, set your targets at. Could have been this structure, could have been that structure, could have been this structure. This is where it did go here is kind of predictable in a way. You could have set targets based on this kind of higher time frame pivot point. Not higher in general, but higher than the current time frame, right? So we're on the 1 minute, we're on the very, very low chart. If we go up to, like, say, the 5 minute, this target was somewhat predictable. So it's, okay, it's possible. Where price kind of moved up over several hours and then headed back down. Price did spike through that. Now it's continuing up. So look, here's the thing about it. It could have just easily gone down. It could have just as easily not done any of this. So, playing the news is a dangerous game. But I will tell you, if you are able to back test all your news events and you develop a method, then, by all means. And this leads us into a question from Trev in the private chat. So that's actually a good thing to understand. To answer his question, he asks, as a general question, possibly to the wider group, do you develop an algo for each crypto pair or have a wider method for picking cryptos prior to moves, possibly using something like crypto bubbles? For me, Trev, I have a wider algo, but what I do with crypto is if I were really to kind of do a lot of crypto trading, I would prefer to backtest and know how each individual crypto behaves. The problem with backtesting crypto, a lot of them don't have a lot of history, so you can't go back 200 tests, right? You have some crypto that got released a few months ago, you might have 20 or 30 or 50 tests, and especially if you're testing in the 4 hour, you might just have a handful. So in that sense, you kind of have to test by asset class and just do the best you can with your data. That's the tricky thing about crypto. Crypto is a bit of an unknown. It's just has a certain margin of error, and it's super volatile. So because that volatility in and of itself is actually very profitable. So, and I traded here. We just had a bunch of winning trades last week. So, let's see, got you. Yeah, V, I got you, V. So, and then V, I guess, just a note, V and I are going to talk for just a moment here. I talked just with Joaquin. You guys are doing like a roundup today, right?
Yep, 12 o'clock. Just me and
nice.
Aquan.
So if you're watching this, go over to Rogue News today at 12 EST, 12 noon. and there's gonna be a really good show. Also, there will be a good show. In about
9 a.m.
20 minutes.
Yeah. Gus is doing it early because of his scheduling issue that he ran into. I don't know where he is. I don't know if he's in El Salvador or Argentina or something like that at the moment. I have no idea. So
I'm glad you told me. This is let me just tell Discord here. Sorry to interrupt the Algo Factory show, but that's something that people love cuss with Gus. So let's make sure everybody knows what's up. Okay, at everyone. Okay, so 9 EST and then geopolitical roundup at noon EST. All right, cool. Everybody knows. So yeah, this is like a sister channel to this, or a parent channel, or whatever, however you want to think about it. roguenews.com is really great for geopolitical, and a lot of what the Guerrilla gathers for Rogue News actually fits right here into Algo Factory. And what you'll find is if you're listening to Rogue News, you're going to find some things out about, I don't know, 2 months after, maybe a month. It just depends on the data. Then you would find them out at Algo Factory. Because here at Algo Factory, the data that comes through is actually beneficial to us. We can trade with that data. So the Guerrilla is going to release that data here as much as several months before he'll release it over on Rogue, where everybody else gets to hear it. So, but definitely check out Rogue News. It's the best geopolitical out there. If you are new to the Algo Factory channel. All right, so back to the charts. So with crypto, I would definitely be. It's a wider algo because, like I said, a lot of the time you don't have a chance to backtest. Right now, if you have something like Ethereum or Bitcoin, there's a lot you can backtest all the way as far back as you need to go, unless you're talking about maybe on the daily. But I think there are even enough backtests on the 4-hour for Bitcoin. And by the way, TradingView does have some new Bitcoin charts that because we used to have to rely on the BLX, the Brave Liquid Index, and that is only on the daily. But now they have Bitcoin history. So they have found a way to synthesize price, BTC USD, Bitcoin all-time history index. So you can actually go all the way back to 2010 and do your back testing. And the same with Ethereum, going back to how far does Ethereum go back? Gosh, 2017, 2016? Is that when Ethereum came on the scene? You got into Ethereum super early, didn't you, V? V the Godela is probably on mute.
What'd you say, buddy?
You got into Ethereum super early, didn't you?
Yeah, I got in probably 2014, 15.
It's at 15 because it hit according to the TradingView history, it goes back to August of 15.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. I knew it was summertime, and I just couldn't remember if it was 14 or 15. So yeah, 15. That makes sense. It's such a long time. I remember it was so low when I picked it up too. It was like,
it started off at hit according to this history. Like, again, remember this is a composite here, so you're not really looking at an exchange, but it goes back to Ethereum being 15 cents.
Yeah, that's I got around I think 30 cents maybe.
So basically, you own you bought Paul Allen's mega yacht. Basically, is what you're telling us right now.
I'm not. I will not confirm nor deny.
Okay, cool.
I do have some exotic machinery. I'll leave it at that.
4D cells, rip starter. All right.
Hey man, don't make fun of my weed whacker, bro.
Good fumble recovery, sir. Let's see, that's Ethereum. All right, so but yeah, look, today is the FOMC, so let's talk a little bit about that. A lot of people are expecting a rate pause. I think that makes the most sense. Pause being like they're not going to hike, they're not going to cut. We're in the middle of a Christmas rally, and I don't think that they necessarily want that to fall. We've talked about tax loss harvesting. I did think that was going to be an issue, but some of the guys over at what's it called? About Bitcoin, I think they call it. Shoot, I really feel bad about that. I'm going to figure out. 1 second here. Long story short, though, and I'm going to give the name of this group. I did a great show with them on Friday. and it's on Twitter on my page. And these guys said it. It's like, look, let's see, here it is. I was gonna get their name real quick because I'm flubbing in my mind here. Because Bitcoin, that's what it is. Looking about Bitcoin, that's what they're called. The guys over at Because Bitcoin said it, like, in order to have tax loss harvesting, right? Tax loss harvesting happens when the markets are down. So it's people who, they need a tax write-off, right? And they're losing. The market went down on them over the year, right? And so they're already at a loss. So they could hold on to their loss and not do that well, right? Or they could sell what they got and then realize the loss. They can go on their taxes. And then there are rules. I don't think they can just buy it back at the beginning of the year. I think they have to not have it for 6 months. I don't know. I'm not a tax professional. I don't give tax advice. But long story short, it can put downward pressure on markets. But right now, markets are up, and they're up in a big way. So there's not really a whole lot of losses for people to realize. So, even though tax loss season is here or pending, it's not necessarily going to be a big one. So, to expect the market to drop at the end of the year because of tax loss season is actually probably not a good plan. So, and I was thinking about that and like, yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. You got to be underwater in order for tax loss season to even be a thing. But, Bitcoin did fall. And we had a lot of liquidity sitting at about 39,000 and that got front ran. So all that liquidity sitting down at 39 that we talked about, that got front ran. This is that never actually happened. Not yet. Not to say it won't happen, but if we look at Kingfisher, let me go ahead and get a liquidity map. You have liquidity. There's plenty of liquidity, actually, kind of just all down into the 30s, but you have a spike, small spike in the high 39s, a good spike in the low 39s. It's a fair amount, like say from 37 to 39. There's like a fair amount of liquidity, and price hasn't gone there yet. So let me mark that out on the chart. 37 to 39. So basically what this is, and again, if you're new, I use the kingfisher.io. That's that website that you just saw. Okay, this is the kingfisher.io. On the bottom right, this is a liquidity map. And this map shows us where leveraged traders, right, in this case on the Binance exchange, it shows us where their liquidations are. So when you trade in leverage, you have a point where you're going to be taken out of your trade automatically without really getting into the details, because you're borrowing money and you have to have a certain amount of down payment, if you will. And if everything shrinks, your down payment shrinks to a point where the exchange is just going to take you out of your trade. You're going to lose. And so, that area for a lot of people is this blue square. And that's for the people who are long, people who are, let's just use the term betting on price going up. And then you have above price in a much bigger way, from 43,400 all the way to 43,700. And that's a much bigger, stronger liquidity. So 43.4 to 43.7. 43.4 to 43.7. So basically like right here, more or less. It's a thinner area, but it's also way more powerful than this. There's a lot more in this area. And as it stands, price, let me see if I can. Okay, so first of all, let me explain how this works. With these liquidity points, they work as magnets, but price has to want to go there in the first place. So if you look at the charts and your algos and everything else, and the charts favor a move down, there's a better likelihood the price is going to, at least in my testing, you have to do your own testing and determine your own whatever results here. But in my testing, if the charts favor a move down, even though there's more liquidity up here, it seems, or at least more concentrated, price would probably come down and grab this liquidity before it grabbed that liquidity up high. But if the charts favor a move up, then, and that can change. That can change very quickly, especially with Bitcoin. Like price could favor a move down, the algos could stay down, and then like 3 hours later or 3 minutes later, price could just all of a sudden flip upward, right? So you really got to be paying attention to your algos. And then these can be looked at as targets, right? They're liquidity zones. And they're usually going to coincide with where there was a lot of price action before, right? So you had this consolidation at the top right here, and that coincides with this. and then you have this consolidation right here, and that of course coincides with this block. So that's usually how that's going to work. You almost, I don't want to say you don't need this. I like how the Kingfisher has it really precise, but you also have an idea of where price action is going to be just based on prior nodes. And you know, and it's something that actually a lot of people do the exact wrong way. A lot of people in crypto do this wrong. So long story short, though, let's see what the algo say. At least we'll say it's my algo says. As far as the direction of price, look, price is taking a break, but it's also at a point where it might not take a break anymore, right? So it might be finding support in its current area. But if I had to really like bet what was going to happen and just, you know, gun to your head, what do you think is going to happen, right? This could change. This could be totally wrong, what I'm about to say, but I'm better than 50-50 right now. And this could change like in an hour, but just based on what I'm seeing in the charts right now, gosh, man, I'm like 50-50 on this because of the way the charts look, but I'd say it might kind of meander, grab, and then head up. That's, for me, it's the most likely scenario, but not by far, right? It's kind of a, and you know what? I'm going to tell you right now, the FOMC can have a lot to do with this, especially if there's like a surprise. So price is going to consolidate probably with most markets for the next, like, you know, 6 hours, or I should say 5 hours and 9 minutes, really. Until the Fed comes out and talks about the prime rate, a lot of money is going to sit sidelines. So, you know, this move that I just drew right here could happen way sooner, right? Because the FOMC, I think, is at noon my time. Let me see. It should be 2 p.m. EST if I'm not mistaken. Let's take a quick look at the calendar. FOMC noon my time, 2 EST. So let's do this. We'll mark that out. It's on the 3 hour. Let's go down to the 30 minute, the day trading time frames here. The 30. All right, let's do this. V, did you ever watch Three Stooges growing up? It's probably not.
Yes.
Did you really?
Of course.
Oh, nice, dude. So you're from New York, dude. That's a New York thing. But yeah,
and the Honeymooners is also a New York thing.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I didn't watch Honeymooners.
I don't watch it either until I married my wife, and then she got me into Honeymooners. I was like,
oh yeah, definitely.
Jackie Gleason's the man.
Jackie Gleason, dude. Yeah, I mean, I know of it. Never really watched it, but I grew up. Dude, I've seen.
It's worth it. It's worth it.
I've seen countless hours of the Stooges, man. I've seen a lot of Stooges. Yeah, I think price will consolidate, just kind of hang out in this range that is developed. Now, I think we might see some kind of a move at this yellow line is FOMC. We might see a move. And if it's a surprise, it'll take a direction. But if it's a hold, it might just kind of get wacky and then start to take a direction, right? So I wouldn't be having any like trades on until after that, you know? That's what I wouldn't personally do that. But you know what? That's me. I'm cautious like that. I'm not so hard up for a trade that I got to trade. I wait till, you know, my algos line up. Because it's really, look, in my experience, you have to take a risk. You can't be scared. You can't hide under your desk. But at the same time, like, you don't want to just be willy-nilly throwing money out there. You won't be trading for long. You lose all your money doing that. And I really got to follow your rules. And my rules say wait until the news. So, but yeah, we're going to see that. And this is going to be across the board. Like, the euro. I can look at if anybody has any charts they want to see here. We got a few minutes yet left. I'm going to just look real quick at the euro. I'm going to high time frame this to begin with. Yeah, definitely, like, the euro is on a high time frame consolidating, and as is the Dixie. If I were to guess, though, I would say the next move is upward, meaning dollar week. But I just, meaning that, like, the dollar gets weaker. But I think we might just see, and I talked about this. I know Cool Cat asked for a Dixie map, the DXY, which is basically like this dollar strength compared to other currencies. I think we're going to see a consolidation like this until maybe partway through the year next year. And at Algo Factory in the private group, we did talk about some of the events that may take place that might dictate which way the dollar is going to go, right? And if you have an idea of which way the dollar is going and you have that high time frame bias, it really helps out in trading. And that data that V gave us came from on high. Like, we can't talk about that on this here right now, nor will V talk about it on Rogue. Not yet.
No, not for a while.
Not for a long time. Not till the data is like out or almost out. But one thing I can tell you that the decisions that get made, the charts front run them. Right. So what I mean by that is like these larger decisions that get made that will affect the way that the dollar acts, the charts know those ahead of time. Now, right now, the dollar is in a massive consolidation. The charts are not telling us a whole lot. Otherwise, I could tell you like, hey, this is probably what's going to happen. Look at the chart. Chart's not obvious right now. So without the chart being obvious, then we're just kind of left to our own devices. But the gorilla has told us in the background very quietly, based on high level data, what's probably going to happen. So we have an idea of the bias before everybody else, and even before the charts are telling us. So just so you know, Algo Factory is the shiz knit. The data we get in there is as up to date as possible. I'm gonna throw a QR code.
Before anybody else, it's ahead of the curve. We are the curve. Okay,
we are the curve. Be Good ask drips tomorrow. It's a good question.
It's possible. It's 50-50 because it's the end of the year. Not much is going on. Not many people are around at this point. Everybody's just like getting in their end of the year stuff and just coasting. So
a lot of coasting in markets. Yeah.
Might. I don't know yet. I'll know by.
I'll tell you this. This is like, we talked about this yesterday too. But if you're a trader, look, and this is, I want to say this really simply, 95% of your work, if not 99, is not trading. It's studying. Right. So if you're going to be like, hey, markets are dead, I got nothing to do, that is the opposite of the truth. You finally have a free moment as a trader to not be in trades. And that's beautiful. Now, if you're actually, the reality is if you're in trades, you really should still be having just as much time, because with trades, at least the way I do it, is my exits are all rule based. So once a trade is on, I spend very little time dealing with it. I might update it for people in Algo Factory, things like that, but all my rules for raising stops or managing a trade or getting out early, without that, those are all rule based. So those trigger on their own. So I get notifications. So really, being a trader doesn't mean you're like getting in a trade and you're sitting there watching it. That's a really bad idea. To sit there and watch your trade, unless you're like scalping, that's another story, and I doubt there's a whole lot of people who have time to just sit there with the eyeballs in the computer. That's not the way we do things. We do things so that you can learn how to trade, you can study it in your spare time, and then you can get in a trade and you can leave it alone and not have to sit there and watch it. That's how we roll. So, but in the meantime, we only got a couple minutes left, and I know, Grill, you gotta go. So can you give us that send off before you got to jump?
Absolutely. All right, guys, listen, here's the deal. Don't sit on the sidelines. Okay, wondering, shouldn't I? Should I try this? Should I don't try? Listen, you go try Rocky Road ice cream. You do Algo Factory. You try vanilla ice cream. You do Algo Factory. You try escargot. You do algofactory.tech. Don't sit on the sidelines. It's the end of the year. Join us. Make 2024 count for you like it's going to count for us here. Algo Factory, we are the curve. Take it away, Cowboy.